YouTube, welcome back to another video. This is a super special video because in this video, you guys are gonna get a special peek of our Sunday 2 nice Menti calls. We have our calls every Wednesdays and Sundays, and today we had a guest, Salem, a seven-figure online seller. He sells on Walmart and he sells on Amazon. He's done over multi-six figures in profit every single year selling on Amazon, and he also works a full-time job. So he's gonna be dropping so much value on how he built out systems to save his time. So make sure you guys get a paper, pencil, and hope you guys enjoy this video.
Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, I mean, I started 3 years ago working a job. I was a manager 60 hours a week.
Mhm.
And I started by let me back up. Sorry. I started by doing sneaker botting and selling Supreme.
Mhm.
And it ventured out into Amazon. One of my buddies was like, "Hey, I'm going to Amazon. You should open up an account." So I opened up an account and I was slanging products from Walmart to my like office where I was working and selling it out of there.
Mhm.
And it got to the point after about a year or so where I needed to find another job. So I found a job in sales that allowed me to scale.
Mhm.
Um, so fast forward, 2 years in, I opened up my Walmart account, have Amazon in the background, focused on Walmart. Amazon was kind of in the background there. I went through, two Section 3s. I've went through everything you could think of, and I'm still here standing.
Uh-huh.
So at this time, I'm focused on brand directs and working with brands directly and obtaining a letter of authorization. So that is my game plan for this year. And yeah, the biggest thing that got me to where I'm at today is by networking. I went to ASD last year and met Faraj, talked to
Yes,
him
sir.
a few months before that, but just being around people that are winning, like you always want to surround yourself by people who are better than you and that know more than you, right? Like I don't
Mhm.
know everything. I might hit up Faraj about a question, he hits me up. Like you have to know that no one knows everything in this game, right? Like it's a lot of trial and error, it's a lot of risk. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's possible to make money doing this. And it's literally all what you put in. I've sacrificed relationships, I've sacrificed sleep, I've sacrificed so much stuff. And now I'm to the point where I could kind of balance out my life a little bit. But the first, 2.5 years, I was in the trenches, staying up late,
Tell
grinding,
them, can we get
sourcing.
a more in-depth part about the trenches? Because a lot of the mentees in this call right now, they're going through that right now. Right now, they're looking at you right now, right? You just came back from Vegas. You hit a 10K day in Vegas with your dad.
Yeah.
So Matt, you did 10K. You didn't do any work. So you didn't do
No.
any work. And so a lot of people would just look at that, and be like, how did he do that? So tell us about the, 2.5 years in the trenches. Tell us about the grind and everything, because that's what the mentees are going through right now, right?
Yeah. So I live a pretty busy lifestyle, whether I'm working or not. I have family all over, so I'm always traveling, driving, flying, whatever. So I started off doing FBM, which is selling from the house, and I really
Mhm.
started doing that for the first about year or so. And to put it into perspective for you, I live on the third floor of an apartment building, okay?
Yeah.
And I live by myself. I don't have a wife, I don't have a girlfriend. I have just myself. And I started by, bringing up stuff small. Uh, did I freeze? My bad.
Yeah, you did freeze.
I
You're
got
good. You're
that
good.
Cricket
Hmm.
Wireless, bro. I
Yes,
started
sir.
off by doing like small orders, and it got to the point where it was like more and more. I had to get a garage.
Hmm.
And then this past Q4, which is, January, yeah, excuse me, November through January is very, very busy. So I was sending a lot of items from like Target, Walmart, Costco, like just flooding my downstairs. And I had so many boxes in my apartment
Yeah.
that no one could see. So I was going to work in the morning, driving back on my lunch break, taking boxes, packing orders, dropping it off, going back to work. Like that is like the hustle, right? Like
Hmm.
that is what you don't see people doing. You
Uh-huh.
also you also don't see people, half asleep, sourcing all night,
Yeah.
aggravated. You might get hit with like an order cancellation, right? So my goal was always to be hands-free, but I knew like it was never like a date. I never said like, oh, by this date, right? Like I always wanted to be hands-free. And now fortunately, I'm about 90% hands-free right now. And it took a long, long time to get there. So like grind and go through it and don't think you're gonna hit like I'm not saying it's not possible for anybody to hit a 10K month their first month because it is. But don't like get so caught up on that and just make sure you're getting better 1% every day. Like take an hour a day and work on your business if you're crunched for time. If you think that's a lot of time, go on your screen time if you have an iPhone and
I
it
tell.
will show you. Like me personally, I don't scroll on TikTok or Instagram anymore. I scroll on there for content ideas, but I don't scroll on there unless it's like people I follow, which is all content relevant to my business, right?
Hmm.
It's not girls shaking their butts and all that crap. Like, so if you have an hour or two a day, dedicate it to that, right? Like
Hmm.
everybody's schedule is different, but I don't care what you say. You could wake up earlier, you could go to bed a little later, you could not go out to drink that night with your friends and grind. Like I sacrifice so much to where I literally come home from work and grind on my business. Like I don't care who it is, my business is priority. And if you don't think like that and you think you're just a little Amazon seller, then you're
Yeah.
not gonna make it. You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna get what you put in. If you treat it like a side hustle, you're gonna get side hustle money, right? So like, I really love what you said about sacrificing, right? Because what it comes down to is just how much are you willing to sacrifice the weekends, right? Coming because you work a full-time job, two other business, you're sacrificing more than the others. So 2.5 years later, you're able to take your dad to Vegas and hit 12K days. Like, you know how insane that is? But they'll see that and they'll be like, wow, it's so crazy. But they didn't see, bringing up to your third story apartment, bringing up the boxes, right? So tell us just more about the trenches. I really want to put this in and more inputs, focus every single day, 1% better. Don't put like a time limit on, when it's going to be passive, right? Just focus on getting better every single day. Let's go more in depth with that.
Yeah, so I mean, like going through the trenches is like buying products that don't match the listing because you're not looking like at everything.
I've done
Buying
that before.
products, buying products that have a high offer count. So when you buy it and send it in, you like straight up just lose money like right away off rip. Like that stuff, like when you start with $1,000, I only started with 1,500 or $2,000. Is all I
Hmm.
started. So like when you start with that amount and you place a $250 order and you F it up and you can't return it and you take a big loss on it, it does kind of hurt you, right? It doesn't mean you're
Hmm.
done, but you have to be smart on what you buy and you need to stop buying what everybody else is buying. Like people are always like, "Oh, what are you buying? What are you buying?" Like, who cares what someone else is buying? Like you could find your own shit.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you have to think like that too. Like, yeah, there are some leads that are so good and so hard to find that someone might slide you, and those are gonna sell, but you can't always chase what other people are selling. It just doesn't work like that.
Hmm.
And then along with that, like I said, like with the lack of sleep, I mean, like I said, I'm talking about staying up super late, making spreadsheets for my VAs, talking to my VAs. Like I talk to them every day and I have four of them now. So it's kind of a lot to manage, but I'm talking to them right away all day. Like it's a lot of mental capacity. And for me, I'm a very extrovert person. But as I've grew my business and as I do these calls and I have my coaching program and et cetera, like it burns out sometimes too. And that's another side that you don't always see, right? You see all the
Hmm.
flashy and all that stuff. But in reality, like I'm reinvesting 90% of my profits into my business, right?
Hmm.
And I'm focused on long term. So everybody's different when it comes to their goals. Some might use it to pay their debt, some might use it to pay their car, and that's fine. But you could take it as little as that all the way to making it an S corp, a C corp, making it $1 million, 500,000 in sales a year. And if you,
Exiting.
yeah, and if
Hmm.
you think $250,000 a year in sales is not a lot, that is a lot of money to say a business has done because
Hmm.
that's what your business has done, right? So don't compare yourself to others
Yeah.
and start start your own start your own stuff. I mean,
So, Salem, obviously, most of the people in this call are just beginners, starting out, making their first 10K months, 20K months, even getting their first sales. What are some needle moving advice you could give to them that they could implement, kind of next week, right? There's a big week coming up. What are some tips that you could give them that they could implement tomorrow, right? To further, get closer to their goal.
I would say definitely make a sheet of everything that you buy and get organized early and try your best to go on like different sale websites and manually just source, like literally have two tabs open, Target, Amazon, and just copy and paste, copy and paste. You'll know after a while if it's profitable or not, like before looking at Seller Amp. So I would recommend doing that, and you should be able to find at least two items. But I would recommend buying 3 to 5 items if it sells, 50 times a month. If it sells 100 plus times a month, maybe buy 5 or 10. Send it to yourself, list it when you buy it, and just wait and see what happens when you get it.
Hmm.
Depending on how much money you have, you could buy more, but just start slow and don't get thirsty and just spend all $1,000. Like that's not what you want to do. You want to
Hmm.
know how to ship the item. You want to know what a return looks like. You want to know what the notification on your dashboard looks like. Like you want to get familiar with everything because at the end of the day, customers aren't going anywhere. Like there's always going to be shit to sell. Amazon's always going to be moving. People always going to be buying. So
Hmm.
just keep that in mind. You have to be patient. Like for me right now, I have two of the biggest POs I've ever purchased in my life this month. So I'm literally strapped for cash in the sense of like I'm not buying until all my stuff sells through. So
Uh-huh.
I'm using time to focus on my systems, communication, goals, checking in with my people. Like there's always something to be doing no matter what.
Gotcha. So tell us kind of some of, Amazon, me and you, we've been doing Amazon for, multiple years now. We know what it is. We know kind of the adversity that comes, the ups and downs that come with business, right? Kind of tell them what to expect with business, right? It's, just go more in depth with that.
Yeah, so the biggest thing in business that I could say is that like 90% or more of the stuff you want to happen is not going to happen the way you want it to. It's going to get bumpy, right? And what I mean by that is let me back up. As long as you're doing everything correctly, using your credit card, using your billing address, saving your invoices, buying from legit places, not buying from people you know, buying from people online. Like being smart about who you buy with is the most important thing. The second biggest thing is documenting it, making sure you have the credit card statement with that purchase, making sure you have the invoice with that purchase. Documenting everything is going to cover your ass. CYA. You always want a CYA. Whether you buy it from Walmart, Target, whether you buy it at Ollie's, keep the receipt, like
I
keep
was,
all that stuff. What's going to happen is someone might buy, let's say you're selling Dr. Pepper and someone buys it and they're like, oh, hell no, this isn't Dr. Pepper. This is like fake or something. They could literally contact Amazon and say, hey, I bought this Dr. Pepper. It tastes like shit. Something's wrong with it. They will then flag your account, maybe take away your listing, maybe put you on like a deactivation. You don't know what it is, but what Amazon does do is they tell you exactly what they need, like in order. People always hate on Amazon, but at the end of the day, they tell you what you need. You need an invoice, you need this, you need that. As long as you could provide that information and you don't have to forge it, which is something I've never done, you will be 9 out of 10 times okay.
mhm.
So just keep that in mind. That's the biggest thing I could say, right? Other than that, it's just going to come down to testing. And there's items that are at Walmart, for example, that sell on Amazon to where you could buy it from Walmart, get it delivered to your house that day, list it, see if it sells. And if it sells, you could just keep buying it. Like last year, I was selling a Fisher Price coffee mug that was 9.98 and I was selling them for like $27. I think it was like $25,000 worth of them in 1 month.
Yeah.
But it's like stuff like that.
And
So
did you manually source it or did you reverse source it?
I'm pretty sure I like reverse sourced it from like an old lead on like a Discord channel, which
Mm.
is something you could always do too.
Yeah, guys, the good thing about this, the longer you're in this game, the more you do it, the easier it's gonna get, right? With the systems, you get VAs, you do all that. Plus, it's like right now, right? I'm just looking at my inventory, what I sold last year in March, right? Easter time, Valentine's time, and you could just resell the same thing because it's most likely gonna be good, right? So that's just another tip that I want to give to you guys. But I kind of want to give you guys kind of a platform to kind of, ask Salem, specific questions. So this would be a good time, you guys. Unmute and ask him a question. He's done over 1 million online. So and at his disposal, any question you guys need, let's get it answered.
Has your account ever been like flagged before or like at risk of deactivation?
Yeah, it happens. So like the way they do it is there's different ways. They might do it and let you still sell, but they won't let you get your payouts. They may do it so they block everything. They might do it so they just block seller fulfilled orders. They might do it to where you can't send an FBA order. So it depends. But to answer your question, yes. I couldn't get my payouts last Christmas, so 2 years ago almost. There was like 25K in there that I didn't realize I wasn't getting. And I had to wait like was about 35, 40 days to fix it, and it was very scary. Uh, and then I had a live call with an agent about 3 months ago to go over invoices. They made me log into Target, look over everything. As I said, I'm legit, so I wasn't really tripping. But yeah, those are things that you kind of get used to. But as you build and as you scale, like I said, I'm getting letters of authorization, which is like literally worry-free situation essentially if your catalog is all that because you're getting authorized to sell it, so you don't have to worry about that stuff.
Mhm.
But you still have to go through that to learn how to do everything. So it's bound to happen. The important thing is that you know how to handle it, and that's by documenting your shit right.
Yep.
Gotcha.
When you're doing like RA and going into the stores, like how do you become like more efficient? Like you know what to look for.
And
Is it
honestly, it honestly just comes with experience. I mean, I could go into a Ross and like look at
Yeah.
the toy section and just know like without scanning anything if there's anything or not. Like I just know like what
You'll
scans.
develop the eye. Like
Yeah.
literally, you'll develop. It's like this okay, it's at a great price right now. It's a name brand item, right? I've probably seen this before in somebody's storefront. I could probably resell it for 2x. It just comes with experience. It's just gonna come with the reps, right? As you realize it's a trenches, the 2.5 year Salam, right? The only reason he's able to do that is because he's been doing it for 2.5 years, right? So you can't compare yourself to someone that's been doing it for 2.5 years. It's just gonna come with experience. So most of the times, all the answers are gonna come by just doing more, doing more experience. To be honest, putting in more inputs. That'll be the answer to most of your guys' questions. But let's get some more coming.
I will say too, like, like Faraz mentioned, I had like a 10K day on Amazon, 2K day on Walmart when I was traveling, which I've never had that much when I was traveling. But
Mm,
the point is like, some days is like it might not even hit 1,000. Some days it's 200. Some days it's
yeah,
not. Like that's the reality of it too, right? I mean, obviously I have sales every day and I'm blessed for that, but it's hard to get consistent at like 400K months, 500K months. Like that's the goal, but you have to
yeah.
keep into consideration you might make $500 on a weekend one week, and then 2 weeks later you might be negative $5 or $20. Like that is part of owning a business, right? Like you have to
Ups and
think of it
downs.
as a business. Yeah, 100%.
Never just going to be like a smooth little line. You're just driving. It's going to be a roller coaster, right? If you want something smooth, you want something stable, go, work a 9 to 5, right? But this is what you're signing up for. There's a lot of upside, right? And that's just what it comes with, right? To be able to, travel and make that much money, it's going to come with that extra level of just kind of stress. Are my VAs doing this? Are my buys? Let me reprice my items so I'm winning buy box, right? Everything like that, to be honest, making sure your invoices, making sure everything is organized, right? So Ahmed Bak, Subhan, Ibranke, let's get some questions in. I know you guys have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
before?
yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
you got it. You
No,
got it.
you
Go
go.
ahead.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, how do you kind of manage your like time?
That's a good question.
Especially when you have a job and like um on top of like that too, um like which kind of like now that you are trying to like talk to like brands now, um what has been some like challenges that you do have faced? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'll answer the first one with the time management. I have a really good team of virtual assistants, but that doesn't mean that, I don't communicate with them, right? Like I'm talking to them every day, updating this, do this. So it's not like a set and go, but it is something to where, if I'm at work all day and I can't look at my computer, I could pretty much kind of manage it, not the way I want it, but a decent enough way to when I go home, it's kind of like just looking over everything. So I use an app called Notion.com. It's free. It's Motion with an N, but you can make different pages. So I have like a work to-do list, I have a Amazon to-do list, a Walmart to-do list, a VA to-do list, like all that stuff. And I like to like it syncs to your phone too. So I like to like check box it, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm very big on that.
I, I,
Um, Go ahead.
I use to-do list too. I do the same thing, right? It's just without this and then I also have like a journal where I every night I write everything I do. 'Cause I couldn't imagine not doing it. 'Cause it's like you wake up every single day. I know what I need to do. I know the needle moving tasks that I need to do. I know I know how many calls I have. I know how much I need to spend on inventory. I know what I need to do every single day. Personal everything. And that's how you're going to be able to be way more efficient. So that's the highest leverage thing you could do, to be honest. Be more organized,
Mhm.
learn how to manage your time well, right? Before you even try to do any business stuff too. Like,
Yeah, and I still have to answer your other part, but to add on to that is like, there's something that has to lack when you're building if you're doing a job in this. And for me, it was sleep, which I realized was not the one to do.
yeah,
So the one that I chose was kind of social life. Like, I get social life
yeah,
by talking to Faraj on the phone and texting him and my other buddies. Like, that's my social from work and that.
yeah.
So to do make sacrifices, right? Like my ex-girlfriend and I didn't work out because it was just didn't work out. It is what it is, right? It's a big sacrifice. The second part to your question is yes, it is extremely hard for me to sit in meetings all day on Mondays, not looking at my phone, not replying to stuff. I can't always sneak out to call a brand or do a cold call because I have other calls at work to do, right? So those are some challenges. Like a lot of my action happens while I'm at work in the morning, and that's when I'm unfortunately at work. So I kind of have to decide, what task do I do right now? What task do I put off to another day? So it's never easy. It just gets easier, if that makes sense. So I hope that helps answer your question, Doc.
Um, when you're getting ungated for like subcategories and it asks for like the invoice and then like a picture of it, you just like can you just straight up like take a picture of like the front and back of it and that's good?
Yeah, I mean, I usually do more the better. I'll take like a picture of all of it in a pile
Yeah.
together, and then I'll do like one of the UPC. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
I do like, yeah, literally every single angle. So you do top, right, left. I go overboard. I submit like 10 pictures,
All
Yeah,
right.
to
more
be
is
honest.
better. More is better.
Yeah.
Don't rush with them.
And when you're getting ungated for those subcategories, is it just the AI doing it, or is it like an actual human that's looking at it?
I think it's both. It depends. Like, I don't know what Frost thinks, but like if it's like a really, really big brand like Apple or something, like
Yeah, the big, so it
yeah,
depends on the brand. The more strict, the bigger the brand is, the more money you can make with the brand. All the cooks, all the brands that you could really cook, they're not AI. They're manually going towards it, to be honest. But those little brands that they have like one or two good products in their catalog, those are auto ungates. That's most definitely a computer doing that. Like, there's no way. I've submitted like a random like piece of paper one time. Like, you can submit anything, it'll get approved, to be honest.
yeah.
Yo, I got a question.
What's good, Saban?
Good, good, good. I actually have to open my fast right now, but real quick, as far as I'm hitting like those 10 to 12K months, like what do I start doing now as far as like just scaling, like your personal own advice, like um obviously as far as like setting like those spend goals, is there anything else I can do out of my own, you know, like outside of my own control to like see what I can do to just get more and more and more sales, like to get to that 20 to 30K months?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that you have to nail down before you like scale up is getting consistency, right? So I would say try to beat your next month, but try to get minimum 10K and try to get that
Mhm.
down for like 2 or 3 months. But if you want to scale it faster, I mean, it's really just going to come down to you spending more money. But obviously, the
Mhm.
hard part is finding what inventory to buy it with, right? So that's kind of the hard part. In the meantime, you could also like develop your systems and slowly get it ready for when you do have a VA. You could have them do what you're doing, so maybe you could focus more on what is working for you, for example. So like you have options with it. It's just it's harder to do like 10K 4 months in a row. I don't know if you've done that. Have you done that?
Not yet.
Yeah, like it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, like you want to like get that flow down to where
Mhm.
then you could be like, okay, like if I spend an extra 10K this month, like this is gonna turn to 15 or 20. Like I'm
Mhm.
confident. Um, so maybe
Right.
just try to spend a little bit more. And with the spend goals, I'm not hating on them because I don't do them and everybody's different. But don't
Mhm.
let that dictate whether you buy or not. Like if you don't feel like you should buy something or you're like hesitant on it, even if you don't hit your spend goal or even if you don't buy anything that day, just hold off on it.
Okay.
There's always another product. Just always remember there's always something else. Always.
Got it.
John, Chris, Q, do we have any questions? Ethan?
Any other questions for me?
Yeah, so I've been looking to get a VA, and I wondered if you had any advice on hiring them, how the process worked for you, ups and downs.
Yeah, that's actually funny you said that. I have a YouTube video dropping tomorrow on it. So
Oh,
I'll
say
link
less.
I'll send it to Faraj. I'm sure he has one as well. But I mean, the best way to do it is depending on where you're at. Like, so for Sapan, for example, like maybe it's smart for him to find a seller at his level, like one person, and you two take on that role together. I
That's
have,
actually a good idea, like splitting one, right? That's what I did at the start.
Splitting a
yeah,
VA.
yeah, so here's what I'll tell you though before we do all that. So I split my Walmart side of my business with the buddy who put me on the Walmart and Amazon, and we both equally manage them. So like I go to him to be like, "Hey, let's have him do this." He agrees. Like we're very in communication. So don't just buy a VA to get leads. Share your leads with your friend and not communicate with the VA like, "Hey, these are good. Hey, these are bad." Because if that's what you're gonna do, you're gonna just shit down money down the toilet.
And
Um, Go ahead.
and and understanding that like with virtual assistant it's only as good as you train him, right? Like if your VA sucks, it's probably just because you didn't give him enough SOPs, you didn't train him enough, right? So really like take that time with him, act like it's like you're treating a fifth grade boy, and really focus on making sure he knows how to source or versus giving him good storefronts, right? Answering all his questions, so you're not just spending money, and make sure you're communicating with him every single day, because what these VAs will do, if you don't communicate with them every single day, you kind of leave them alone. They'll start, the level of performance will start going down. They'll start BSing. They'll maybe get another job, right? So understanding, training them, consistently every single day, that's going to be important. Reaching out with them. Communication is everything, to be honest. Even with the mentorship, right? People will learn faster if you communicate every single day. If you're taking steps with them every single day, that's what's proven to work when, you're getting over that learning curve, to be honest. But
Yeah.
Chris, Jean, we got questions. Abranke, Omanaim, Q. Any questions? Everyone situated?
I guess just like starting off because I just started off. So for like RA, just some stores or kind of just some tips. You know what I'm saying, to get the
Yeah.
boat flowing. Because I know once it starts flowing, you just gotta keep inputs, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I would look at like clearance, like because here's the thing about retail arbitrage that people don't realize is like every area only has a certain amount of stock, and every area has a different price. So if you're in Florida, I'm in Michigan, it might be $15 where you're at, it might be 650 where I'm at. Who knows, right? So
yeah,
hit up clearance aisles of every store, but also not everything that's clearance, excuse me, not everything that's full price, like eliminated off reselling. There's stuff that are full price that you could also flip. Like it's not a lot as much,
Oh,
but there's
100%.
shit all day that you could sell that's full price. So just
100%.
learning, yeah, learning where to scan. Also look up like a closeout store. Like I have a closeout store here that I'm really close with that gives me like invoices that I need. They sell like name brand items. I mean, I don't go there a lot, but they have stuff. Being cool with the managers, going to Walmart and being like, hey, I have a business. Don't tell them what you do, so to say, unless they ask. But, I have a business where we buy a lot of, XYZ. Can you hit me up if you get a clean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just that kind of stuff that no
Get
one else
crafty.
is kind of, yeah, 100%. Like, you want to be the dude who walks from the alleys and they're like, oh, shit, who's ringing this motherfucker up today? Because I don't want to do it. You know what I'm
yeah.
Yeah.
So so really just like looking for them sales signs, and then on top of that, just thinking outside the box.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest thing is like I said, like I went from RA to OA to no RA to OA to wholesale, which I hated, right? I hated wholesale. I
Yeah.
lost so much money. Then I went from
Yeah.
OA to brand direct, which is a different kind of wholesale, in my opinion, and it's much better. But everybody has successes in different things. My two guys that I work with on the Walmart side, we have like a Walmart group and stuff like that. One of them does RA and does like $100,000 a month doing just RA on Amazon and Walmart.
You just
So
need one connect. One
yeah,
relationship could change the trajectory of your life. That's what you guys need to understand. So, and really emphasize thinking out of the box, right? One relationship with one manager, one productive conversation. Hey, when does the truck come? I have a reselling business, right? I would love to, I bought, hundreds of units from you guys. I'd love to just, you don't have to unload it. I'll just take it, pick it up from the back. Literally, just getting those relationships could change everything. I want to really emphasize and backtrack on what Salem said. One of those relationships is everything. But my fault for cutting you off.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, don't get thirsty on wholesale. Like if you don't have 20 bands liquid for wholesale, don't
There's a
even do
lot.
it.
There's a lot of whole propaganda going on right now. It's a lot
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
it's a
Don't.
lot of propaganda. That's all I'm gonna say.
If you want to do wholesale, make sure you have a good website, you know how to talk to people, you know that this is a business, you have money, you could buy shit when you say you're gonna buy it. That's how
Mhm.
you could do wholesale. If you even for a second are hesitant when they tell you it's 12 grand that you have to pay and you ghost them, you just messed up a relationship that you
And
can't get.
they talk with each other. They're all networked together. If you ruin your reputation once, it's over.
All my people knew I sell on Amazon, but they didn't give a shit because I
Yeah.
handled professional and I paid and I was just like a normal person. They didn't never
Hmm.
cared at all,
Yeah.
ever. So.
Why didn't you like it then?
I didn't like it because it's just really risky to determine if a lot of them have minimum purchase orders of 20K, 10K, right? If I only find 5K of products that are profitable, I'm scraping the other 5K with bullshit that's not going to move. And it just results in me losing money, right? So on the brand direct side, I'm buying directly from the brand. They know I'm selling it, right? I could run ads for them. It's selling itself because it's the brand. Like that's why I moved from that, right? Like the goal at the end of the day for me is to either have my own brand or be like a consultant for brands because I don't know if I can handle making a brand. I just don't have that mind. But
Hmm.
everybody's different. But there are people like my buddy who have wholesale accounts with Crayola, like, Pokemon, Lego, and is just killing it. Like,
Yeah.
he has a warehouse, he has employees, like everybody is different and there's no right or wrong way, right? Like for me, like I said, I'm at work 40 hours a week, driving, traveling. I can't do RA anymore. But I started with it and I now know literally all four business models like the back of my hand. But it took a long time to get to that point.
And guys, don't feel rushed to kind of make a jump, right? I know he's talking about Brand X, wholesale, but this is 3 years of experience, right? You guys are
Uh,
in month one, month two, month three. So I just want to let you don't get shiny object syndrome, right? Just keep taking steps, keep scaling up, right? The funniest thing is when people like, I want to do wholesale and they're only doing like, 5 to 10K a month, 20. They haven't even dealt with the IP complaint. They don't even know how to read a keeper chart effectively. Don't get shiny object syndrome. Be patient, right? Focus on inputs, focus on getting better, getting your skill set, getting better at sourcing. Master OA, where it builds systems out where you're delegating, you have a prep center, you have a OA, you have a virtual assistant, and then you free up some of your time and then you could start looking at other stuff, right? But don't get shiny objects and jump around every couple months,
and
right?
stop refreshing your app. You want to get so busy to your day that you forget to refresh your app where you're like, oh
Yep.
shit, where my sales are at. That's what the point that you want to get to. If you think
Hmm.
about all the time you're refreshing it when you're not even buying stuff the last 3 days, you're refreshing for no reason because it's not going to go up because you're not buying stuff. So just keep that in mind too.
Yep. Boys, we got a minute left. Any questions? Let's get them. Let's get them answered.
Dun dun dun. No, I appreciate everybody hopping on though.
Yes,
Thanks for the question
sir.
as well.
Sir, thank you for dropping the sauce. It looks like everyone is situated. Um, Thank you so much, Salem, for hopping on. Really appreciate you for dropping the sauce. Really just giving your perspective,
I
right?
think I think Ibi Ranke has a question in chat. She's just not able to join the
Let me
call.
see.
Uh,
I'm gonna when do you get a VA and how much should one be making monthly? Salem, you want to answer that?
I would say $3,000 minimum to have one. I mean, you're gonna pay them anywhere from 400 to 600 bucks if they're good,
Yeah.
and you're probably gonna be buying more products because you have them. So I would say probably 2,500 minimum, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
Yes, sir. I completely agree, to be honest. That's probably when I got mine too. But we got less than a minute.
Yo,
Salem,
what's his YouTube channel?
Salem,
Uh,
what's your YouTube channel? Plug it in. Plug it in.
Here's the chat at. Shit. Hold on, my bad.
Yo, we got a minute, Salem. You gotta hurry up. You gotta hurry up. I got free Zoom. Salem WFS. I'll drop it in the Discord. All right. I'll drop it in the Discord.
Yeah, I'll drop it in the
All
Discord,
right.
bro. Thank you,
General AMZ.
guys. Have a good night.
Yes,
Appreciate
Appreciate
sir.
you.
you.
All right,
See
see
you
ya.
guys. Thank you guys
See
for
ya.
joining. Let's cook. Let's
Appreciate
have a
you.
good week, guys. Let's have a good week. See you guys.